Hi guys, it's Corrine, and today I wanted to share with you an album that I bought by Basicgrey, and it's the Capture album. And as you can see, it's a ring binder album, a 3-ring binder, and it comes with these adorable papers in them that have tabs and also some pocket pages. I'm not going to mention where I got it from because I don't believe that it was the company's fault, but I was really not happy with this album. As you can see, and I don't think that this happened during shipping. I just think this is how the album is, and I was just really not happy with it. But as you can see, it's like bent here. It's completely bent up here. And the whole thing is just warped. Like, it doesn't sit right. It won't even sit right on my desk. The corners are really banged up. Again, I just think this might be how it is. If any of you own these, let me know if yours came like this. But the inside, I'm not happy with how the inside looks. As you can see that, it's just terrible. I'm just really not happy with this. And I paid $13 for it, which I would not pay that again. And it's just completely warped. So what I thought I was going to do today is make my own, and I will do a start to finish on that. I will be using the Tim Holtz binder rings. I got these at Hobby Lobby. You can get them online anywhere at Michael's, Joann's. You just search for Tim Holtz Ideology ring binders. And what I will do with this one is I have a young girl that I know that is wanting to get into smashbooking, and I'm going to give this to her. The reason I bought this partially was I love the papers in it. I love their thick cardstocks. I love the design of it. So I'll probably take these out, make an album or a binder to fit these, and I'll put some papers that I think she would like more for her young age. So what I'm going to use is plain chipboard. My favorite right now is chipboard. That's my favorite. I love craft cardstock. I love the natural color. So I could have covered the binder I'm about to make. I could cover with paper, but I'm choosing not to. The reason I purchased this is because I love the look of the craft with a little bit of design paper. So that's my plan to do this. I have black chipboard, but again, I love the natural look. So I cut 2 pieces. You can make your book any size you want. I chose to make it 8 by 9. So I have 2 pieces 8 by 9. I have a spine piece 2 by 9. I'll be using a centering ruler to help me get things centered. I'll be using some Miracle tape that I got from Viva Las Vegas Stamps. You want to use a strong adhesive. You can use wet glue if you'd like. The only thing I wouldn't suggest you use is glue stick. That never works well for me. And I will also be using my Big Bite to make my holes for the binder, and some E6000. I'll put a little bit of E6000 right at the edge here where the brads go. You don't want to put any glue here because these open and close. That's how the rings open. So I'm just going to add a little bit of E6000. You don't even need to do that. I just think it will hold much better. This is the first time that I'll be using these, so I'll let you know how that turns out. And I'm going to choose a pattern from this stack. It's called the Chevron stack, and I got this from Hobby Lobby. It's by the Paper Studio, which is Hobby Lobby's brand. So I'm going to choose something for the inside and the outside with this. And the thing I will be using is a piece of Tyvek envelope. This is the envelope you get from the post office. It's a real strong envelope. You can purchase this at any office supply store, and it's kind of that fibrous material. My sister works in an office, so she cuts off all the address information, then she gives me all the scraps, so that usually works. Or I have purchased it from Office Depot, and you can get it online as well. So I cut a piece of that at 4.5 by 8 3/4, and the purpose in that is to go under my spine. With this under the spine and the covers attached to this, it will hold up very well. This you can't tear, this Tyvek stuff you cannot tear. So I will be adding that as well. And you'll see me add, I'll use lots of tape to make sure it's sturdy, but I will always add tape to the edges of where the cover paper meets the edges. So I'll be adding tape along all the edges here, so when you're adding your pattern paper, you want to make sure that it adheres well, because the book will be opened and closed. So you want to make sure that it adheres well. And when I add paper to the top, I'll be adding paper to the top. I will cover the entire piece of paper with tape, because if not, when you fold it up, you'll see bubbles in it. So I will put it on fast play. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I also want to let you know that I will be measuring in probably close to 1/4 inch to place my binding rings. So I'll just measure that over, and I'll try and center them and place them in here. And they will stick out the back, the brads, which I don't mind. They show something similar here. I don't mind the look of that. You can hide them, but I am going to leave them out on the outside. So thanks for watching. Here I wanted to show you what I use when I put my covers on to my spine. The chipboard that I'm using is called Graphics Chipboard. I'll put a description in the box below. You can get it from pretty much anywhere online. And you want to use 2 thicknesses of the chipboard that you're using. So here I have some scrap chipboard, 2 pieces of it, and I just hot glued them together. And I will use that to place in between here and then match up my bottom of my chipboard to my spine to my cover. You want to leave enough gap in there, so instead of eyeballing it, I just hold this in there and then I place it down. That way your book has room to open and close without bumping into each other. Okay, so I just wanted to show you here that I completely covered the spine with tape because I believe I said it before that if you don't, it will bubble when you close your book. And I made sure to stay away from this where it bends right here where the cover meets the spine, but I also made sure to add tape right on the edge of the spine and the edge of the cover. And I also am taping my paper. I have quite a bit of tape and I kept checking it to make sure that when I lay it down, it will have complete coverage. You can use wet glue for this if you'd like. The paper that I'm using is very thin, so wet glue tends to not look right. Plus, I love using my double-sided tape. Then what I did is this page is 6 inches wide and my spine is 2 inches wide. So I just used a centering ruler. Let me push this up a little. I used a centering ruler to find out where I'm going to lay my paper, and then I used my T-square ruler to mark a straight line so I can make sure to get this paper on there perfectly straight. If I don't, it's kind of hard to tell. It might be a little crooked. And then my paper on the other side, I'm using this as my guide to match up. So I want to get this as straight as possible. So you can just mark with a ruler, and if there's any pencil marks shown, you can erase them right afterwards. I plan on trying to put my paper directly over the pencil line. What I will also be doing is only taking away just one piece of tape on the edge. That way I can line it up, stick it down, and then I can remove the rest of my tape to make sure that I get it on there perfectly straight. Okay, so I was just going to leave the brads on the back here. That the look doesn't bother me, but what does bother me is they stick up just a little bit. So they're going to catch on something. So I decided I was probably, you can add another piece of the pattern paper going down the side of this to cover them up. But instead of doing that, I was looking through my brads, and I have two brads just like this. And actually they look very similar to the Basicgrey book. These are much smaller, of course. But I decided I'm going to take off the prong part and use some E6000 and glue it over the top of these, and also add a little bit of hot glue so they adhere instantly while the E6000 is drying. So I will, being that these will probably not cover, I will just use my scissors and cut these brad prongs down just a little bit so they fit underneath it. Okay, so what I did here is I made a template, and I just simply measured it to how much border I wanted here and here, and then I brought it in 3/8 of an inch, and I used my big bite to put a hole in it. And once I put the paper in there, I decided it was a little too short. I wanted it a little bit longer. So this piece that I cut as a template is 8 3/4 by 6 1/2. But I went ahead and for the actual pieces I was going to put in there, I added a 1/2 inch. So it's the final piece is 8 3/4 by 7. And then again, I just used this as a template, and I went ahead and added my holes to some craft papers. And what I've been finding lately when I'm working in my smash books, my favorite pages to work on is the craft based pages. I love using craft, and then you can turn around and add any pop of color to them and it looks great. So I decided to fill this with all craft papers, and then that way I can decorate them any way I want. I can paint them, I can use modeling paste on them. So here is the finished product, and eventually I will fill this book out and work on this book and let you see the finished product. I might add some modeling paste to the front, I'm not sure. But let me give you a close-up. I can say that I am so much happier with this book than this book. I was just not happy with this. I'm not happy with how it opens. I'm just not happy with it. I might even actually rip this out, this binder ring out, and use this to make another one so all my pages fit in. And then I can give that little girl a different one that I can make for her. I'm really happy with the Tim Holtz binder rings. It's definitely sturdy on there. There's the back. And here's the back. So I hope you give this a try. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. And thanks so much for watching.